to be that when the President of the United States called everybody together for a summit meeting at Camp David, the only countries that didn't show up were enemies and those who didn't like what was being served for lunch. This is not the case for the Obama administration right now. The president called for U.S. and allied Arab leaders to join him for some discussion, but most Gulf nation heads of state won't be there. Seen by some as a slapdown by our allies. Others see it as no big deal because the meeting was for show anyway. All right, let's dig into this edition of The Political Animal. Let's welcome back former director of FEMA, now rocking the airwaves at 630 KHOW in Denver, Colorado, Michael Brown, and veteran attorney and the man who is still emerging from that shell of shyness that we're working on every single time, Adam Thompson. Gentlemen, I thank you both for being here. Michael, I'm going to go ahead and begin with you on this one, seeing as you've been in the political circles before here. Is this a big deal, or is this a message directed right at the White House?
Well, I think it's both. Let's be honest. First, the meeting is generally for show anyway, but this is exactly how, in diplomatic circles, you send the message. And rather than the king showing up, having some underlings show up instead sends a clear message to the president, irrespective of what people want to say about how important the meeting is that, you know what, we just don't trust you anymore, and so we're not going to give you the legitimacy that you want by having the king come. We'll send somebody else instead.
Adam, if you look at it, right, it is a clear message indeed. Adam, if you look at it, though, the message has to be from the Saudis and others. Look, Mr. President, you're spending a tremendous amount of time dealing with Iran at this point. You're not really doing anything to stop them. We're in here putting our military, our planes, our people on the grounds as well. I mean, this is really a slap at the president. But at the end of the day, Adam, will he even care?
He won't care. Obama does things his way. His administration does things their way. But this does really send a message if you look at the big picture. Our two biggest allies in the region, Israel and Saudi Arabia, if you were going to plan a summit of this importance, you would make sure that Saudi Arabia would be there more than any of the other allies in that region, and that wasn't done. Now the Saudi king is giving an excuse to have a conflicting event at the time. But in the big picture, when you're talking about Iran getting nukes and the possible establishment of a nuclear defense system or missile defense system being put in place, the king would be there for something of this magnitude. The fact that he isn't, I think, is subtly sending a message that they're not happy with how the negotiations with Iran has taken place, and they want the Obama administration to be well aware of that by the king's non-show.
Mike, here's something else on the Obama administration. Author Seymour Hersh, in the London Review of Books, is accusing the Obama administration of rushing to take credit for the al-Qaeda leader's death, Osama bin Laden, that is. Meantime, you've got people on the other side saying, wait a minute, that's all wrong. There's no fact to it whatsoever here. It's interesting how we get it here and that it is based on a single anonymous source, this report from Hersh. This does sound like a smear job.
It does sound like a smear job, and I'm always concerned when, one, Seymour Hersh is using one source to back up this claim. I think we could all probably agree that the president probably did spike the football a little bit when it came to the UBL assassination. But let's be honest. I think in this situation, this is probably much ado about nothing, or it's just Hersh trying to sell books. Come on, guys. Let's quit playing these games. Let's get to some facts.
Yeah, Adam, I'll tell you what, from an attorney standpoint, again, from Seymour Hersh, one anonymous source. If you're an attorney working on this and you have one anonymous source working in a case, you're not trying that case come hell or high water, are you?
Absolutely not. First, you got to look at the source. He's been accused in the past of putting out false information or stories that haven't been properly vetted out. Then he's claiming that everything he's stating is on another anonymous source. Very bad. I don't buy it. I think it is a smear job, as you said, Ed. If you, in this day and age, particularly what we saw happen with Brian Williams, you better make sure your information is accurate and has good source points and is vetted out from top to bottom. Bad job here. Don't buy it. It's a smear job.
Don't buy it. 1 minute left, gentlemen. Here we go. Mike, back to you. The tornadoes that hit Arkansas and Texas, just unbelievable destruction again. But Mike, as someone who was at the head of FEMA for a while, are we as a nation, in your opinion, prepared to face natural disasters and man-made disasters? Are we really ready enough?
No, we're never ready enough, number one, Ed. I think the other thing we have to keep in perspective is that as this nation continues to grow and we have a larger population, we have more buildings and infrastructure and everything out there, that when a tornado does hit, you're going to obviously have greater damage because we have more things to be damaged. But the thing that always concerns me is we go through these lulls where we we've not had a major hurricane for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So if we have an active hurricane season this year, you're going to have a lot of people caught with their pants down because it's not going to happen to me kind of attitude. We always have to fight that battle.
Adam, 20 seconds left. Do you trust your government to take care of you if an earthquake strikes New York?
Listen, Sandy hit, and that's as bad as it gets. My office was from the basement up 10 feet underwater, and we were closed for 2 months. So these storms are real. They're getting more severe. We have to be ready. And people forget about hurricanes, tornadoes. What about solar storms or solar flares that are going to be coming from the sun that could wipe out our power grids? We could put $2 or $3 billion to protect those grids, and nothing's being done about that. That's a real threat that could wipe out communications nationwide.
There you go. Get to work on it, Mr. President, and all the lawmakers as well. Michael Brown, K-House 630 in Denver. Adam Thompson, thanks for joining us, gentlemen. We'll do it again.
Take care, Ed.
All right, and stay with us. This is the fastest 60 minutes in news. The Hard Line continues.